Hey everybody, it's Warboss Fitz. Welcome back down to the painting table. Tonight, we are going to be painting up my DAO Union army. Now, these obviously are not Nottingham plastic. These are proof that you should always be on the lookout for new STLs, because you never know where you're going to find them. Everything in this army comes from the Lazy Forger. He has some 6mm armies that when I was looking to print them in 6mm, I always wondered how they would look in 28. So our battle suits are from the Tech Army Collection. I think they're called Sagittariuses or Sacred somethings. I'll put a picture up for you guys. Our stealth armor is also from the Tech Army Collection. And then all the infantry are from his enlisted bundle. Going from 6mm to 28mm usually is not the way to go. But a lot of people are putting so much effort into their 6mm models nowadays that when you bring them up to 28mm, they look just great. You can see with this infantry that as far as basic model goes, they look really good, and they don't have all the unnecessary details that some 28mm models are pulling off nowadays. So for the paint on this army, we're going to keep it relatively simple. We're going to go with the standard brown ochre-ish color that the DAO Union is known for. We're going to do pallid bone, sand golem, hardened leather, maybe some dark wood for some deeper stuff, and grim black. And all of our bases are going to be done in light mocha. And of course, the first step to any one of my builds is everything's going to get a white dry brush, because we are going to slap chop the crap out of this. So in order to start with the slapping and the chopping, you're going to want to get your white paint, put it in a palette like mine, or you could just use the cap of the bottle. You're going to put some on your brush. Generally for this, you want to get a larger, stiff bristle brush. Take most of the paint off, and then just start whackety whack across the whole model. And you're going to keep going back to the paint often. That's why we use the cheap stuff for this. Now that is what a fully dry brushed model looks like. We're not trying to turn it into a white model. We are just using our brush to pick out the edges. What this is going to do is going to give us depth for our next steps. Now we just got to do that across the whole army. So after a little bit of elbow grease, here is the army all dry brushed. Now our next step is going to be to go in and do the bases. Everything on the base here, well, on top of the base, is going to be covered in light mocha. That's going to give us our desert base. That's going to give us our base to our desert base. That sounded kind of weird. So you just take your light mocha, fill up your palette, grab again a rather large brush. I don't know what size this is. Size number 3 brush. And we're just going to start going to town. So there we go. Everyone's bases are done. It's kind of subtle on camera. Well, actually, the camera picks it up pretty good, because we are starting with a very light color for our desert sand, because what I like to do is just leave it just like that and hit it with a brown wash. This whole army is going to be brown washed at the end. Next thing we are going to do is we're going to move into the armor colors. Now, our main armor color is going to be the sand golem. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some darker panels using the hardened leather. This way, it makes it easier to do a whole overcoat with the main color once we got the accent colors done. At least it does in my mind. Now we are back down into the normal brush size territory. I don't even know what size this one is. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this be the recessed armor, so it'll be like the sides Yeah, I'll pick out some panels as I go along. Alright, so these are the panels that we are going to do the hardened leather. So now, just gotta do everybody else. Alright, everybody's done up with their dark armor accent color. Even all the troops, we got it on the shoulder pads and we got it on the hip pads. Next, we're going to go deep with the sand golem for the main armor color. Brand new bottle, gotta shake it up. Alright. Alright, wet your brush. And again, we are just going to use the same size brush. And we're just going to go right on in. Alright, we are left with this. The colors are giving me this weird retro futurism kind of feel. We even got most of the back too. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the guns, some of the detail greebling up here in a lighter color. That's what we're going to use the pallid bone for. And then for the jets, the hooks on the top, and then the details on the leg joints, we're going to do that in a black. But we'll get to that soon. Now, we just got to do the main armor color for everybody else. Alright, now everyone's got that color. Here we go. Got a nice desert camo going. Now our next step is going to be red to pallid bone. And that's going to be for our infantry here. That's going to be their color of their pants. And then for the larger guys, that's going to be the color of the boxes on top and probably the weapon casings here. Alright, here we go. You can see they got some color on the weapons. It actually is most visible when you do the pants on the infantry. Now, next we're going to run into the Grim Black. And for that, on these guys, we're going to do the legs, we're going to do the weapon exhausts, we're going to do the little hooks on the top and a little faceplate. So let's go ahead and get into it. And then for the infantry, it's going to be all the tubes in their head and the weapons. Alright, now these are starting to look pretty cool. Almost done. I think I'm going to go back in with some, where is it? My devil's a mess. I'm going to go in with some Vallejo Game Color Metallic ink. The silver. And with that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do like these barrels that I left off. We might touch their eye visors with it. I'm not sure. I might do one and see how it turns out. All right, so I got everything kind of sitting over here. I think these are coming out really great. So now what we're gonna do is, normally I would give everything an all over brown wash, but just the way these are looking, I think all I'm gonna do is the bases. And for that, all I take is a big old tub of this and some of this, and I put it into a little cup, beat the absolute crap out of it. And this is actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it separates over time. So I just got to mix that up real quick, and then we'll throw it on the bases. All right, so here we go. It's all mixed up, and then with this, all I'm really going to have to do is touch it. So we're gonna let that dry and see what comes up. And I like putting a paper towel down like this, or a napkin all spread out like this, because it'll jack your table up. As you can tell by all the stains and stuff on my table, I don't always do this. All right, now that they've all been inked, I'll pull one up for you. You can see what it does to the base. It adds a whole bunch of detail and depth to the base. We have to do the hardest part, which is we gotta wait. So I'm gonna let them sit overnight, and then tomorrow I will peel them off of the paper and show you what we come up with. All right, so we are back the next day. So our oil wash is all dried. Let's pick this guy. He's sitting right pretty in the center. And that is how our bases turned out, which is good enough for me. Now the next step, all we gotta do is we got to black rim the bases. All right, and this process is very straightforward. You take your black paint, in this case we're using some apple barrel black, and sploosh. And you get your brush, and we're just gonna work through them. So here is the final product. The whole DAO Union army is complete, only using 7 colors. Now I really like the way that the 6mm model has been scaled up. And yeah, you guys are going to be able to see this army in action this weekend. These are going to be the next how to play video, and we're going to do DAO Union versus my Penal Legion Human Defense Force. So until then, make sure you guys are having fun out there. Keep your brushes wet. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.